Now I'm smelling. Not smelling like this thing, I just smelled the shoe.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so ready to introduce Long?
Yes, also that. Okay, so it is my pleasure to introduce Long Lee today. I know he's going to give us some very delightful tidbits in his whole story. So as far as the bio, I don't want to, take anything from your presentation. But Long Lee with F.I.R.E Leaders Financial Services, an insurance broker, and some things that we're always curious about, and you may end up talking about it, but what was the favorite job you ever had?
As a chef.
As a chef?
Yeah.
Had the most fun?
Had the most fun.
Awesome. And your first job?
I actually worked at a car wash.
Huh?
A moving car wash to car dealerships, summer job, and technically I was not old enough to work, so. but
that is how determined and motivated you are. Awesome. Everybody give it up for Long Lee.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you again for the opportunity to present to you a little bit about my bio. So it's going to be deep, so bear with me. You know what? I'm not going to use these today because we're going to speak from the heart, and I feel more connected if I speak without reading something on a piece of paper. So we'll go from that. So I want to tell you a little bit about my origin story, from hardships to entrepreneurship. And we're going to start with the very most important people in my life, my mom and dad. As you can see there, my grandma and grandpa as well, but my mom, a little quick history on her. She's a byproduct of the Vietnam War. Her life was very difficult. She was abused, she lived on the streets. Nobody wanted her because she was half white, right? You just came out of a Vietnam War where you were fighting the Americans, and now you're half white. Nobody wanted you. So she had to work a lot of odd jobs. She was abused. She got people claiming that she stole stuff, here and there. It's horrible things. So I'm very proud of my mom, and she's the reason why I keep working as hard as I do. My father had to raise 9 siblings, plus his mom and dad. So he had to work at a little watch shop that he put in front of his house to support his family. My grandpa didn't want to work. My grandma couldn't work. So we did that, and he also taught martial arts for a living as well. So 2 very strong, powerful people that actually I look up to and see how hard they worked. So they were actually able to come to America because my mom was half. Because the U.S. government at the time said, you know what, our mistake, we got a lot of babies over there, let's bring them to America. Now, it gave them options to come to America. And my mom, when she heard the opportunity, she said, I'm going. So, we came to the land of the free. This is the day when my family was getting ready to leave, so we're having a great party, everyone's packing, and these are actually my dad's side of the family. And they're all grown up now. We brought them all over to America, and just imagine, my dad, the oldest in the family, had to work 2 jobs to feed this whole family. Essentially 11 people. That was not easy. Even later on, when we did come over, there was a lot of hardship and challenges in America still. I dealt with racism, I've dealt with discrimination, I've dealt with violence. When we came over, we literally came over with the clothing on our backs. Nothing but the clothes on our backs, no money, no nothing. We had to have sponsored families from the church kind of take us in and have us get on our feet. And Christmas a lot of times, it's not easy. We didn't have money for food sometimes even. Luckily there was charities and all that helped out. And my mom and dad, again, came over here, worked 2 jobs, morning and night, barely saw them. Which was great for us because we got to go hang out in the streets and do whatever. But that also meant we got into a lot of trouble. I actually saw my first shooting when I was 8 because I lived in Minneapolis. I was constantly getting into fights, rumbles, and injuries and all that. And that's kind of the reason why my dad, I looked up to him so highly, because he taught me martial arts to defend myself and to defend others. Now, that got me in a lot of trouble too. So there goes some of the hardship Now, moving into my very destructive life, my lifestyle that I grew up in, hanging out with gang members, got into drugs, wasted my life away. And even after I got away from a lot of the bad people in my life, just like as I mentioned earlier, you are who you surround yourself with. I was still getting in trouble. I got a corporate job, left the restaurant industry. I was still getting in trouble, but I didn't totally cut off all the people in my life that was causing me heartache and pain. I didn't realize it until my divorce, to be honest. And my divorce had nothing to do with any of my issues, maybe some little minor. It was a lot of other issues. And that happened back in 2020. So yeah, I mean, a lot of these people that I don't even have the right people on here. The people that I really used to hang out with, way worse. Way worse. Got away from those people, got with some better friends, but they weren't doing the right things. Didn't have the mindset. They didn't want to leave that lifestyle. But in 2020, that's when I decided enough was enough. But before that, what made me do my first initial change is my beautiful son here, Jaden, was born in 2007. And that was when I was slowly getting away from the really bad people in my life. And that's why I titled The Light That Changed My World. Because when he was born, I decided it's time to go to college. As a matter of fact, I don't even have a high school degree. I had dropped out. I went to go get my GED. Said, I don't want this lifestyle anymore. Got my GED, went to college to be a chef, and then from then on, my life started to change. I surrounded myself with better people. I changed my mindset by reading more books, getting an education. I mean, if you look at my essay to get into culinary school, instead of putting chef, I put an I in there on every word. So my whole entire essay, when I read it again out of college, it said chief. Why do you want to be a chief? I want to be a chief because I want to do this, I want to do that. It sounds ridiculous, but that's what happened. And because of my son, I decided to do all those things. But like I said, back in 2020, fast forward back to 2020, I changed my life by surrounding myself with the right people, right? Surrounding myself with an environment that I can grow, that I can change, that I can be supportive and connected to my community, make new friends, right? I thought that I was such a deadbeat back then that I couldn't change, but that all changed when I joined WFG. And that's when I got into the insurance industry. Just life insurance, and to be honest, great company when it comes to starting, and they did help me a lot and change my life, but I left them just a while back, so to join a new broker. And great company to start, but not so great when you're trying to start your own business. But anyhow, I met beautiful people in the industry and also started getting into networking groups. And fast forward to about 2022, I decided to branch out and create F.I.R.E leaders. And that also made a huge change for me. But in a second, I'll talk about that picture up there. But yeah, I decided to have my own agency in 2022. It's a lot of hardship, a lot of aches and pains. It's not easy, especially coming out of there with no capital, no support, no big organization training, no budget, right? Nothing. Everything came out of my pocket, myself, credit cards, loans, everything. I had to do it myself. But when I feel like giving up, or when I feel like I'm not doing enough, or I'm not having a good day, I look at this picture. Well, lots of those pictures. This is my son, Harrison, and every time I have a tough moment, I give myself a little cry, I pick myself up, and I dust myself off and do it again. And by the way, that's a Bluey quote right there.
I recognize.
And I just remind myself that I do it for this guy. And then that guy too, right? They rely on me. So back to F.I.R.E leaders and how we started. I always wanted to get into the insurance industry. And with the insurance industry, why I loved it so much is because I translated a lot for my parents back in the day. Instead of going outside to play, and I hated it at the moment, trust me. I yelled at my dad one time, like, why do I have to translate for you all the time? I praise him now. Because of all those things I had to do for him, made me who I am today. Made me have the bilingual and be able to help the community that's underserved. And that's why I got in the industry, because not only just the Vietnamese community, but I realized there was a lot of people that didn't know what they're paying for. What is insurance? It's so complicated. What are these words, right? So that's why I got into it, and I started my own agency. Why I chose the logo of a dragon, because my first name, Long, actually means dragon. The FIRE actually comes from a movement called Financial Independence Retire Early. And that's why we lead them by using our financial services, which again, not a financial advisor, and we'll leave that to Chris. But I am helping them save money and understand more about their insurance and how to levitate that or use that to their advantage. And lastly, I just love my burning passion to help the community. As you see, I'm always out there doing some type of community service or helping other people or doing charities and stuff like that. And we'll do more of that this year. But with all that, that is why the dragon was reborn, right? I changed my life, read more books, looked to connect with better people in my life, stop doing drugs, don't do drugs, okay? Stuff's not good for you. Even if it's just party drugs, it's still not good for you. But as you see, being in the community is probably my number one thing. I love giving back. I love being around beautiful, happy, and cheerful people, and people that are motivated. They want to go get something, or they want to do something better in their life, or they want to be there with their kids, right? Just something that's positive. I love that energy. But with that, I will leave you with a few words here. Life's not easy, right? It's like Rocky Balboa says, it's gonna beat you until you hit the ground. And it's gonna keep beating you, but you gotta keep getting back up every time. And my advice is that as you go on in your life, you're gonna start asking yourself questions. Who am I? Who do I wanna be? How am I gonna be successful? And you're gonna start reflecting on that. And as you start reflecting on that, you're gonna start gathering yourself. And you're gonna gather these pieces, one by one. Those pieces are keys that are gonna help you in becoming better, happier, and more successful. And a lot of that does come with your habits, your connections, and your friends, even the bad ones, because those experiences are gonna change you. And the same thing goes for family. Some family is good, some family is bad too. Your history will help understand what mistakes you made and what you won't make again. Your experiences shapes your knowledge and prepares you for what's next. Your religion, the faith. What's your higher power? What's gonna get you moving in the day, right? It's gonna give you purpose. And the number one thing that's the most important key that's gonna make you, your happiness, your health, your success, is you. Thank you. Oh. Thank you.